Here's something nobody wants to admit. The prettiest notes don't lead to the best grades. We think that the more prettily organized always means the more effective, but it's not. Psychologists call this fluency illusion. And once you're aware of this, you'll see why you've been treating studying like arts instead of learning. And here's where it gets even worse. Those color-coded, highlighted, perfectly organized notes you spent 3 hours making, your brain sees them and thinks, I know this material. But you don't. You just recognize it. And recognition is the most dangerous fake version of learning that exists. Here's what's actually happening. When you're making beautiful notes, rewriting textbook sentences in different colored pens, and drawing a lot of perfect diagrams, your brain is in input mode. Information is flowing into your head. It feels productive. It feels like learning. But tests don't measure input. They measure output. Can you pull that information back out when there's nothing to recognize? When it's just you, a blank page, and pure recall? This is why you look at your notes before a test and think, yep, I know this. And then sit down in the exam and suddenly everything evaporates. You trained your brain to recognize information when it's in front of you. You never trained it to retrieve information when it's not. Students who get A's, their notebooks look like a mess. Scratched out sentences, incomplete thoughts, random arrows. Because they're not making notes, they're wrestling with ideas in real time. The act of struggling to summarize something in your own words, getting it wrong, crossing it out, trying again, that's the studying. The notes are just the battlefield. And this next part explains why your study sessions feel so long but produce nothing. Your brain has two systems, recognition and recall. Recognition is easy. It's multiple choice, it's rereading, it's, oh yeah, I remember seeing this. But recall is hard. It's essay questions, it's explaining concepts out loud, it's closing the book and trying to write everything you remember. Most students spend 90% of their time practicing recognition and then wonder why they can't perform recall under pressure. And here's the brutal part. Making perfect notes feels like studying because it's difficult in the wrong way. It's physically tiring, it takes time, but difficulty doesn't equal depth. You're working hard on the presentation of information, not the processing of it. Meanwhile, top students are doing something that looks easier but is cognitively harder. They're closing their textbooks after one read. They're trying to explain the concept to themselves without looking. They're writing messy, fragmented summaries from memory. And they're testing themselves constantly. And when they get something wrong, that's not failure, that's data. That's their brain saying, you actually don't know this yet. So they go back, check, and try again. The notes are a byproduct of this process, not the goal. If that just described your entire study routine, good. It means you need to hear it. And here's the mental shift that actually works. Stop making notes to study later. Start making notes to study right now. Try this. Read one section of your textbook or watch one lecture segment. Then close everything. Grab a blank piece of paper and write down everything you can remember without looking. It's going to feel awful. You're going to draw blanks. Your writing will be messy and incomplete. Perfect. That discomfort is real learning. That struggle to pull information out of your brain is what builds retrieval strength. Now open your materials and check what you missed. Don't rewrite everything. Just note the gaps. Then close it again and try to fill those gaps from memory. Do this for 20 minutes and you'll retain more than 2 hours of color coding ever could. Your notes aren't supposed to be a museum exhibit. They're supposed to be proof you fought with the materials and won. Messy notes mean your brain was working. Perfect notes mean your hands were. So next time you sit down to study, ask yourself, am I decorating information or am I wrestling with it? Because only one of those show up on test day.